Hello again everyone! Welcome po sa ating Math Isip video tutorials. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss about subsets of real numbers. Ito na po yung last na topic natin in the second quarter. So kung hindi pa po kayo nakakapag-subscribe, please click the subscribe button and then follow us also on Facebook para po mas madami pang makadiscover sa atin pong mga ginagawang videos at mas madami pa po tayong matutulungan ng mga students. Okay, so without further ado, let us now begin with our discussion. So here in this lesson, at the end of this, you will be able to illustrate the different subsets of real numbers. You will also find the union and intersection of the set of real numbers and its subsets. And lastly, you will be able to arrange real numbers in increasing or decreasing order. So medyo madami po tayong pag-aaralan ngayon. I encourage you to please participate kasi madami tayong mga exercises mamaya. And remember, in order for us to understand math, we have to do math. Okay, so before we start, let's have first a review. Okay, let us review yung previous topic natin about the intersection and then the union of sets. Using Venn diagram, it would be easier for us to discuss yung pinagkaiba ng intersection sa union. So as you can see in this Venn diagram, intersection is just the common elements between two sets. We have here set A and set B. Ano yung common elements nila? Yun po yung intersection. While on union, it is all the elements either in A, in B, or in both A and B. Okay, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng union. Okay, to have a more solid background of our lesson, let's discuss a few questions here. Okay, halimbawa itong number 1, what would it look like if there is no intersection between two sets? Halimbawa itong intersection natin using a Venn diagram. What if there is no intersection? Paano pag walang common sa dalawang set? How are you going to draw it using a Venn diagram? Ano kaya ang magiging itsura niya? Magiging dikit pa rin ba yung dalawang set? Or hiwalay na? Okay, so the answer is, hindi po sila magiging dikit. Ang tawag na po natin dito ay disjoint sets. Okay? So separate yung elements ng A and then separate din yung elements ng B. Another question is, if one set is a subset of another, how do you represent it using a Venn diagram? Let's say si A, subset siya ng B. How are we going to draw it using a Venn diagram? Okay, let's say we have here set A. Kung siya ay subset ni set B, therefore, nasa loob na siya ng set B. Okay, so all elements in A also belongs to the elements of B. But can we say that the elements of B belong to elements of A? Not all. Okay, hindi po lahat ng elements ni B nasa set A. Pero lahat ng elements ni set A nasa set B. Last question. Can the subset A be also called the intersection of A and B? Pwede ba nating sabihin itong subset A na ito ay intersection din nilang dalawa? Okay, the answer is yes. We can say that set A is also the intersection of set A and B because all the elements in A also is a common elements with set B. Nagkataon na lahat ng elements ni A ay kasama rin sa elements ni B. Therefore, they share a common elements. It's important for us to understand these concepts kasi magagamit natin itong mga ito in understanding our lesson on subsets of real numbers mamaya. Okay, to practice this skill better, let's have an exercise. Let's do this together. Okay, we are going to illustrate the given sets in a Venn diagram. We will label each set and show any subset relationships and identify the universal set. Okay, so we have here the following sets. These are group of people living in certain places in the Philippines. Halimbawa, itong set N, these are people living in NCR or the National Capital Region. We also have here set Q. These are the people living in Quezon City. We also have here set P. Let's say these are the people living in the Philippines. Buong Pilipinas na. And we have here set L with the elements people living in Luzon. We also have here set C, the people living in Cebu City. And set V are the people living in Visayas. So if we're going to draw a Venn diagram dito sa side, ano ang magiging itsura niya? How are they going to be related? Remember, meron na tayong subset dito at i-identify natin kung alin sa mga ito yung universal set. Okay, so ang technique po natin is we can actually start with the biggest set. Pero in this case, mas maganda kung we will start with the smallest, the least number of elements among these sets. So saan ba? Okay, we can start with the cities. Okay, unahin natin yung set ng people living in Quezon City. So we have here set Q. Okay, and we also have here set C. These are the people living in Cebu. Okay, bakit po sila magkahiwalay? Take note, they are disjoint. Okay, they do not share a common element. Hindi pwedeng ang isang tao nasa Quezon City at the same time nandun din siya sa Cebu. So hindi po pwede yon. Wala po silang intersection. Next, ano bang second na mas malaking sets dito when it comes to the number of elements? Okay, take note, ang Quezon City, nasa loob po siya ng NCR. So we can have N dito or set N. Okay, nasa loob si set Q sa set N. Okay? Because all elements of set Q belongs also to the elements of set N, the people living in NCR. We can also have yung mga groupings by group of islands like Luzon and Visayas. Ang NCR ba nasa Luzon or Visayas? Okay, we can find it in Luzon, syempre. So we have here set L, okay, the people living in Luzon. Ibig sabihin, set Q and set N belongs to set L. And for set C, okay, set C belongs to people living in Visayas. Okay, yun po, magkahiwalay din po sila. You cannot say that a person is in Luzon at the same time nasa Visayas. That's why they are also disjoint. There are no intersections as you can see. And lastly, saan natin ilalagay itong people living in the Philippines, set P? Ito na po yung magsaserve na universal set natin. Okay, so all these sets belong to set P. Okay, so they are all under consideration. The universal set is the set of all elements na nandito sa ating context. So that's how you do it. Okay, that's how you make a Venn diagram out of these sets and subsets. Okay, let's now proceed sa subsets of real numbers. Okay, here I'm going to give you the definition of the sets of real numbers. Ano yung pinagkakaiba ng mga ito sa isa't isa at ano yung mga examples nila. And also their notations. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first is a natural or counting numbers. Nung una, ito yung ginagamit nating mga numbers when we start learning about numbers. We count things. Okay, nagsimula tayo sa pagbibilang. So these are the natural numbers. These are the set of numbers used for counting. Okay, the letter N is the symbol used for natural numbers. Take note of yung N natin, medyo kakaiba yung pagkakasulat dito. These are what we call double struck symbols. As you can see, medyo makapal po yung kanyang letterings. Okay? Ganito po ang itsura niya. This is the symbol or the notation we use for natural or counting numbers. Letter N po siya na double struck. What are the examples? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, indicating the ellipsis here. Okay, indicating that this goes forever. So this is an infinite type of set. Next one is what we call the whole numbers. Okay, after nating matutunan yung mga counting numbers natin, we also were able to understand that there are other symbols to indicate nothing, which is zero. Okay? Yun na yung kasama sa whole numbers natin. The whole numbers is the set of counting numbers including zero. Whole numbers are denoted by the symbol W. Okay, as you can see, this is another double struck letter. Okay, ganito po yung itsura ng ating notation. And our examples are now counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, including 0. Yun lang po yung pinagkaiba niya sa counting numbers. Ang counting numbers walang 0, but whole numbers has. Next one, we also have here integers. This time, we were able to understand that there are negative numbers. So, para mai-represent natin yung mga halimbawa sa temperature, we also have here negative temperatures. We now use integers, okay, to represent those numbers. The integers is the set of natural numbers, their opposites, the negative numbers, and 0. Okay, kasama na po dito yung whole number, and then kasama na rin po yung mga negative numbers. Commonly, we use the symbol Z for integers. Double struct letter Z, ganyan po ang symbol ng ating integer. Examples, we have here negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, next one are the rational numbers. Okay, nung nalaman na natin ng integers, there are also some numbers that we need to represent using fractions. So, ito na po yung mga rational numbers natin. The rational numbers is the set of numbers that can be expressed as a fraction P over Q, where P and Q are integers and Q should not be equal to 0. Napag-aralan na po natin ito, hindi pwedeng maging 0 ang denominator ng rational numbers. So, rational numbers are often denoted by Q, okay, from the first letter of the word quotient. Okay, ito po yung ating notation for rational numbers. Okay, remember, rational numbers can be expressed in a ratio. Okay, using a ratio P over Q. Examples natin, it can be 1/2 or negative 3 over 4. We can also have decimals like 0.5. Remember, 0.5 is also the same with 1/2. We have negative 2. Pati po yung integers kasama na dito, ano? And then we also have here these kinds of decimals which are repeating decimals. 0.333, okay? Repeating decimals po ito. Kasama po yan sa rational numbers. And lastly, we have irrational numbers. Ano naman po itong irrational numbers? Napag-aralan din po natin ito previously. Irrational numbers is the set of numbers that cannot be written as a fraction P over Q, where P and Q are integers and Q should not be equal to 0 pa rin. Simply, the numbers that are not rational. These are the opposite of rational numbers. Okay, irrational numbers are denoted by Q prime. Ito po ang basa nito, Q prime. Anong ibig sabihin nito? It represents all real numbers that are not rational. Okay, yung opposite ng Q na yung symbol ng rational natin kanina. So, meron lang po tayong quit dito to indicate that this is irrational number. Examples, we now have here square root of 2. Take note, ang square root of 2, kapag i-enter mo using your calculator, it's almost 1.41414. Tuloy-tuloy na po yon at hindi na po yon natatapos. It's non-terminating and non-ending. We also have here pi, which is approximately 3.14, no? Hindi rin po yan nata-terminate. And we have here letter E, or what we call the Euler's number. Ginagamit po yan as a natural logarithm. And yes, we also have here 3.14. Ito na po yung pi natin kanina. So these are all examples of irrational numbers. Okay, and lastly, we have the real numbers. Okay, ito na po yung union of the set of rational numbers Q and the set of irrational numbers Q prime. Is the set of real numbers denoted by the symbol. Ito double strike R, yung ating symbol. We define R symbolically by R is equal to Q union Q prime, or the union of rational and irrational numbers. Okay, ito po yung ating symbol. R includes all rational and irrational numbers. So ito po yung summary natin. As you can see, the subsets of real numbers, ito po yung mga subsets niya. It can have natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and irrational numbers with their notation and examples. Okay, to practice this, let's have an exercise. Okay, we will illustrate the given subsets of real numbers in a Venn diagram. Label each set, show any subset relationships, and identify the universal set. Yung parang ginawa natin kanina about the set of people living in certain places in the Philippines. Ganon din po ang gagawin natin ngayon dito. You can actually pause this video. Pwede mong gawin muna in a separate paper and then pwede mong balikan ito to check your answer. If you're going to draw a Venn diagram dito sa side, ano kaya ang magiging itsura niya? Okay? Alright, I hope you are now ready. Let's see kung paano natin to i-represent using a Venn diagram. Okay? So parang kanina, we will start with the elements or the least number of elements. Ano yung set na may pinakamaliit na elements? Okay, we can actually start with natural numbers. Ito po, natural numbers are just counting numbers. Now, does it belong to whole numbers? Yes. Okay, so we can have natural numbers inside the set of whole numbers. And then, ano pa pong susunod? Okay, ang whole numbers belong din po siya sa integers. Okay, nakasama po siya sa integers. Okay, and then we also have here rational numbers. So rational numbers includes integers, whole number, and natural number. How about irrational number? Kasama ba ang mga ito sa irrational numbers? Hindi po. Wala po silang kinalaman sa isa't isa. Irrational numbers are separate. Okay, they are disjoint set. However, these are all elements of real numbers. Ito na po yung magiging universal set natin. Yung set of real numbers. So lahat ng mga ito, they belong to real numbers. To give you a clearer picture, ito po yung magiging final na diagram natin. Using Venn diagram, makikita nyo po dito yung mga subsets of real numbers including their examples. Halimbawa, itong natural numbers, we have 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Pag dinagdagan na natin ng 0 yan, ang tawag na natin ay whole number. Pag dinagdagan natin ng negative numbers, ang tawag na natin sa mga yan ay integers. At kapag dinagdagan pa natin ng fraction or decimal, even if it is a repeating decimal, ang tawag na natin dyan ay rational numbers. Pero kapag ito po ay mga irrational numbers like this, square root of 2, square root of 5, cube root of 13, pi, and the natural number e, ito na po ay irrational numbers. Okay? Paano natin malalaman kung irrational numbers sila? If the radicand, yung mga nandito po sa loob ng radical sign, ay hindi po sila perfect square or perfect cube. Okay? Matic na po, irrational numbers na po sila. Okay? However, all of this, again, belongs to the real numbers. Okay, let's have this exercise para ma-practice natin yung inyo pong naintindihan about the subsets of real numbers. Identify to which the following numbers belong by putting a check mark in the corresponding cell. I'm going to give you time to answer this and then mamaya ipapakita po natin yung sagot. Okay? Alright, I hope nasagot nyo ito ng tama. Let's see your answers. Okay, first we have here 32.67. Okay, this is irrational number. Okay, 32.67. Di naman po siya natural, di naman po siya whole or integer. Hindi rin naman po siya irrational. So it's just rational number. Next, how about number 210 is a counting number. Yes, it's also a whole number. It's also an integer. And of course, it's irrational number. Okay? Pero is it an irrational? Hindi po pwede. Okay? Number 3 is negative 8. It's an integer. It's a negative number. But is it also a rational? Yes. Is it also an irrational? Hindi po. Okay? Next, square root of 49, number 4. Okay? Kung sa unang tingin, para siyang nagmumukhang irrational. However, if you're going to evaluate the square root of 49, it will just be number 7. And 7 is a counting number, a whole number, an integer, and of course, a rational number. Next is 5 over 7. This is now a fraction. Hindi naman po siya counting. Hindi rin siya whole. Hindi rin po siya integer. Of course, it's now a rational number. Next, we have here 0. Is 0 a counting number? Hindi po. Is 0 a whole number? Yes. Okay, and integers and rational number as well. Next, square root of 10. Okay, meron bang integer ang square root of 10? Kung i-evaluate natin, wala po. Hindi po siya integer. So, hindi rin po siya rational number. It's an irrational number. Okay, hindi siya perfect square number. Next, we have here 0.127. 127. Kung nakikita nyo po, nauulit yung ating decimal numbers. Therefore, we call this a repeating decimal. So, a repeating decimal is a rational number. Okay? Next, we have cube root of 7. Okay? Is 7 a perfect cube? Hindi po. Ibig sabihin, this is an irrational number. And last number, number 10, we have here negative square root of 16. Okay, evaluate lang natin. Meron bang square root ang 16? Yes. Ano po ang square root ng 16? It's just 4. But we have here negative, therefore, this is negative 4 kung i-evaluate natin. So, saan po belong ang negative 4? Counting ba? Whole, integer, rational, or irrational? It's just integer and rational. Okay, yun po yung mga sagot natin. I hope na kuha nyo po ng tama. Okay, let's now proceed sa union and intersection of subsets of real numbers. Okay, so here we are going to have an exercise again. Try nyong sagutan ito. You can pause this video and then go back after you answer. So the instruction is, in each of the following, determine which one of the sets N, W, Z, Q, and Q prime and R, and null set is equal to the given set. Okay, so meron po tayong pagpipilian dito. Try to choose from this kung ano yung magiging sagot sa mga relationships or operations na nandito. Okay? So, I'll give you time to do this and then balikan nyo na lang after you finish. Okay, I hope na tapos nyo na. Okay, let's now have the answers for letter A. So here in letter A, we have here Z. Ano po ang ibig sabihin ng set Z? This is the notation for integers. Okay, so integers, union, ano po yung Q natin? We have rational numbers. Okay, so we have integers and rational numbers. Ano po ang union ng integers at saka rational numbers? The answer here is it's just set Q, okay, or the set of rational numbers. Take note, pag sinabi nating union, it's the combination of all the elements. And alam naman natin ng integer, kasama siya doon sa set ng mga rational numbers, katulad nung exercise natin kanina. So, Q is the answer since the set of integers is a subset of the set of rational numbers. Okay, how about letter B? What is the integer intersection rational numbers? Pag sa letter A, union, dito naman sa letter B, ano naman ang intersection? Ano ang common elements nila? Okay, so it's just set of integers. Okay, katulad po ng diniscuss natin kanina, since the set of integers is a subset of rational numbers, integers belong to the set of rational numbers. Okay, yung tinanong ko po nung una, is a subset can be considered an intersection? Yes, okay? Kasi lahat naman ng elements ni integers kasama na sa elements ni rational number, therefore, yun na rin yung intersection nila. Okay? Next, letter C. We have here, ano po yung ibig sabihin ng N? Okay, we have here the natural numbers, intersection with the irrational numbers. Okay, meron po ba silang intersection? Wala po. That's why our answer is null set. Okay, since there are no counting numbers that are irrational and there are no irrational numbers that are counting numbers. Kung babalikan nyo po yung ating Venn diagram kanina, they are disjoint set. Wala po silang intersection. So, the answer is null set. Then letter D, last is union. Union of irrational numbers. Ito pong Q prime natin. And then we have here real numbers. Ano po ang union nila? Ano yung common? Okay, of course, the union is just the sets of real numbers. Since irrational numbers are a subset of real numbers. Okay, pagsasamahin lang natin. Since si real number, kasama naman talaga sa kanya si irrational numbers, therefore, ang magiging sagot natin sa union ay yung buong sets of real number. Okay, so I hope naiintindihan nyo ito. Kung medyo malabo, you can go back again to the diagram kanina, Venn diagram, para mas maintindihan nyo. Try to analyze yung pagkakaayos niya, ito po, para mas maintindihan nyo, mas ma-memorize nyo. Kasi kailangan nyo po ito kahit na sa mga higher mathematics subjects. Okay? Okay, for the last part of our lesson, we will now locate numbers in the real number line. Here, meron tayong dalawang activity. Una is we are going to plot the following real numbers on the number line. Meron tayong 5 real numbers dito. How are we going to plot this here in this number line? Okay, so let's have the answers. Okay, unahin natin sa negative 2. Okay, negative 2 we have here. Dito lang naman si negative 2. So, dito po yung ating point. So, we have negative 2. Next, we have here 0. Okay, so we just plot the point here. And then that is now our label 0. And next one, we have here 7 over 2. This is now a fraction. If we're going to plot this in a number line, it would be better for us to convert this to a decimal. Or you can just divide 7 by 2. And if we're going to divide 7 by 2, the answer is just 3.5. So saan ba yung 3.5? Nandito po sa gitna ni 3 and 4. Therefore, this is now our label 7 over 2. Next, we have here square root of 23. Is this a rational or irrational number? Okay, take note, yung 23 hindi naman siya perfect square, kaya ito po ay irrational number. Pero previously, we learned how to estimate and plot irrational numbers. So if we're going to press this also in our calculators, ang lalabas po na sagot dyan ay 4.7958 and so on. Okay, so nasa gitna po siya ng 4 and 5. Okay, there you go. That is the square root of 23. And lastly, we have here 2.25, a decimal number. Dito lang naman po siya sa lagpas ni 2. So since this is 0.25, 1/4 po siya ng ating bar dito. So it's just here. So there you go, 2.25. Okay, so as you can see from the list dito po sa left side, ito po yung mga negative numbers natin. Kung mas malaki po yung number na negative, it means that the value is also lesser. So ito po yung value niya, negative 5, papalaki ng papalaki hanggang dito po sa positive 5. So yan po yung arrangement natin. The concept of this number line will be used in our next exercise, wherein we are now going to arrange the following sets of real numbers in ascending or descending order. Okay, so I'm going to give you another time for you to arrange this. You can go back after finishing your task. Okay, I think you are now ready. Let's now have the answers for this exercise. Okay, using ascending order muna. Okay, let's try ascending order. Ang ibig sabihin is from the least number going to the greatest value. Okay, so take note, pag sinabi nating least, edi mamili na tayo sa mga negative numbers. Ano ba yung mga negative numbers natin dito? We have negative 38, negative square root of 2, and negative 1/10. Okay, alin dito ang pinakamaliit? Okay, the more na mas malaki yung negative na number, the more na mas maliit din yung kanyang value. So, our answer here is negative 38 first. Followed by, alin dito sa dalawa ang isusunod natin? Negative square root of 2 and negative 110. If we're going to convert this into a decimal, negative 110 is just negative 0.10 or negative 0.1. While here, square root of 2 na banggit natin kanina, it is actually 1.414. Kung i-evaluate natin using the calculator, it's non-ending, non-terminating din po yan. So, mas malaki po ang value ng negative 110. Okay, therefore, ang kasunod dito is negative square root of 2, followed by negative 1/10. Next, susunod ay 0, followed by 0.666. It's a repeating decimal. And then afterwards, we have 5/3. Kung i-divide natin si 5 by 3, ang sagot natin dyan ay 1.667. Okay? Hindi rin po siya natatapos. So it's a repeating decimal. Next is square root of 7 with approximation of 2.6457 and so on. So, yun po, irrational number po ito. Okay, pero we can actually estimate it by finding the nearest perfect square numbers in between po nito. Okay, next is we have pi, 3.14 approximately, and then followed by 12, a whole number. Papalaki na po siya. And then followed by 16.34. And then we have 571 po yung pinakamalaking number. So this is now arranged in ascending order. How about descending order? Baliktarin lang po natin. We can start with 571 followed by 16.34, 12 pi, square root of 7, 5/3, 0.66, 0, negative 1/10, negative square root of 2, and negative 38. Okay, so yun po yung ating sagot. I hope nakuha nyo rin po ang tamang sagot. I hope alam nyo na po kung paano mag-arrange ng mga real numbers. So that is our lesson on real numbers. I hope na sagot nyo po lahat ng mga exercises at I hope na intindihan nyo po ang ating lesson. Again, thank you for listening and good luck again for the next quarter. Good luck po sa inyong mga exams. God bless. Kung meron kang natutunan sa video na ito, please click the subscribe button to support this channel para mas matulungan ulit kita sa mga susunod mo pang math lessons. Lagi mong tatandaan, ang math ay para sa lahat. At ako si Teacher Van, nagsasabing dito sa Math Isip, lamang ang nag-iisip. God bless and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.